Market absolutely melted down this weekend. In today's video, I'm going to share with you what I believe is going to happen this week and the rest of this year, and how I'm still extremely bullish on crypto. In this channel, we're here to keep you calm, we're here to keep you stoic, we're here to keep you out of the get rich quick and understand how to get wealthy for sure, understanding that this is nothing new under the sun. So first, I'm going to show you Ray Dalio's Changing World Order once again. Next, I'm going to share with you what a couple of the wealthiest people and families have said in the world during these times. And number three, I'm going to always share with you exactly what I'm doing. I will never share with you anything I'm not doing myself. And that's how we got wealthy in this asset class, and wealthy outside the asset class was doing the opposite of the public. Now, that's a very important part of this video, because what's happening right now is nothing new under the sun. Now, I'm going to stay in my lane with the micro and macroeconomics. Okay. A lot of people have different opinions on what's happening within the world. So I'm going to stay on what I know, the cycles. That's what I study cycles using Ray Dalio's Changing World Order, looking back at history and understanding this has happened in history over and over and over again. They had us drunk in the Coliseum, completely distracted. The Trojan horse came in. So I'm going to try to get you to take a deep breath. And as they tell you to look this way, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. Is it by chance that our whole monetary system is changing from fiat currency, fake currency, detached from the gold standard in 1971, to digital currency, stablecoin act being passed, all treasury is going to be tokenized, to a cryptocurrency, Bitcoin as a strategic reserve? Is it by chance, or is all the timing just coming up right at the same time? So let's look at Ray Dalio's Changing World Order, and I want you to decide for yourself. And I'd love to hear your commentary down below in the comments, okay? But this is something that we have focused on. We have read and studied Ray Dalio's Changing World Order. Now, Robert Kiyosaki, Ray Dalio, has been sharing with us that this moment in time was inevitable. Now, the difference is we're moving into a brand new monetary system, okay? Distributed ledger technology, on-demand liquidity, okay? Bitcoin will be part of the monetary system. XRP will be part of the monetary system. Things like XLM, HBAR, the system is being rewired from the infrastructure all the way back up, okay? So what's happening right now is nothing new under the sun. Okay. Ray Dalio's Changing World Order. Now we're going to start at number 9 right here. Okay. What happens is this is the rise and fall of superpowers. Okay. Now what's happening with China is at 300% debt to income ratio. America's at 100 and over 20%, heading up to 130% debt to income ratio. So America and China, two of the biggest superpowers, have more debt than they have income. Every single dollar you get paid is someone else's debt. So when you start to see it come back down, you see less productivity, overextended. Americans are overextended. The credit card debts hit over 1 trillion. Americans have more credit card debt than they've ever had. Losing competitiveness. So America was highly losing its competitiveness. It was pushing everything offshore. Wealth gaps. You think the wealth gaps have become massive from 1971 to 2024? Just wait from 2025 to 2030. Large debts. We just discussed that. Printing of money. They printed more money than in history from 2020 to 2022. And now they're going to turn these printing machines on full blast. Okay. Internal conflict. We have massive internal conflict happening within America. Okay. Left versus right. We know that's happening in America as we speak in the larger cities. Loss of reserve currency. America is at risk. This is interesting of losing the reserve currency. But check this out. America is the strongest currency in the world, and it's collapsed almost 99% since the Federal Reserve was created. So your strongest currency in the world has collapsed 99%. Let that digest. There's a global transition in your financial system. Problem, reaction, solution. Study that dialect. Problem, he who creates the problem creates a reaction in the people, is the same person who comes up with the solution. The solution is going to be Bitcoin strategic reserve. Every country is going to have one. Okay. You're going to have technologies like XRP, things like XLM, things like HBAR. Okay. Things like ADA, Cardano. You're going to have many different things out there reframing the financial system. Okay. Weak leadership. Okay. We transitioned from weak leadership to very strong leadership and civil war and revolution. Now we're heading into a whole new world after this weekend. Okay. This is very, very strategic what is happening within the world. Okay. Now I'm going to share this with you guys. Now, I'm not saying this is good or bad. I'm saying this is the reality that we live in. When they tried to mock Jesus, they went up to him and said, "Who do we pay our taxes to?" He said, "Who's on the coin?" He said, "Caesar." He said, "Pay your taxes to Caesar. Give to God what is his. Give to me what is mine." So Warren Buffett said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful." The fear right now is having you look this way. And these are the greatest opportunities in human history. Human history, if you're an investor, that's how they operate. I didn't create the game. That's the actual game. And so let's move on a little bit here. And Baron Rothschild says, when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own, that's crazy. Like, this is wild. This is how the mentality works. Unfortunately, I didn't create the game, but that's the actual game. You are the exit liquidity. You are the exit liquidity. They pay you in someone else's debt. Then they take your hard-earned money that's sitting in the bank and they utilize it. They lend it out. Think about that for just a moment. You have to learn to put yourself in first position. You're putting the bank in first position with your hard-earned wealth. They're lending it out to the next person walking in. They're using it into the capital markets. They're trading it overnight. Countries trade back and forth. We have not learned how this system actually works, but the system has to change. And what usually changes the system? World wars, right? World wars. When everybody's distracted, looking this way, they change the whole system this way. Very, very important to pay attention. So Brian Armstrong posted, the world needs crypto more than ever. Debt is growing exponentially, and it's going to get even worse, guys. The big bill has a lot of debt in it. Now, I think Trump's going to bring massive amounts of wealth into this economy. And those who are investors in the right asset classes and are properly positioned over the next 3 years, we're going to go into inflation, guys. And I'm going to show you something else. America is the highest interest rate right now. So interest rates are going to come down. Okay. I'm going to keep saying August. I think it's going to be, I said it was going to be bumpy in June. I told you guys that. I didn't know that, Trump was going to bomb Iran. I didn't know that was going to happen. But I told you it was going to be bumpy in June. I told you it's probably going to be bumpy in July. And I feel in August, we're going to start to see this thing start to come up. They're going to lower interest rates eventually. They're going to have to. He's going to be forced to lower interest rates. They're going to turn the printing machine on full blast. But the issue is, and I'm going to share with you on the back end, why I focus on 4 components: cash flow, okay, cash flow, deflationary assets, protection, and leverage. I'm going to show you why I focus on those, guys. Because of this, inflation is crippling entire nations. Economic freedom is declining. It's time to increase economic freedom globally with crypto. So they know that this is coming. They know that cryptocurrency, that we can operate together. So I'm going to show you a video from David Sachs where he says the quiet part out loud, guys. We thought we were running to decentralization. We were running into the new system, and they're trying to FUD us out even harder. Okay. So the US is running the highest interest rates in the world right now, which is crazy. Powell must be feeling the pressure. America should lead, not lag behind. Once he starts cutting, Bitcoin and risk assets will take off. Okay. It's only a matter of time. Okay. So what's holding this together is interest rates are the highest in the world. So what does that make? The dollar more attractive. Okay. It's the world's reserve currency. So you want to hold dollars when the interest rates are higher. When they make the dollar weaker by lowering interest rates, people go into assets like fixed supply, Bitcoin, gold, XRP, right? Bitcoin is the big one that you think about that. The third wealthiest person in Mexico is now putting 70% of his portfolio into Bitcoin, RFK fully into Bitcoin. You got Robert Kiyosaki. He's talking heavily about Bitcoin, gold, and silver. You got Ray Dalio, who was about crypto, and now he's about 5% of his portfolio in Bitcoin. Okay. CZ's traveling around the world, teaching countries to do what America is doing. So very, very important to understand these rates are going to have to come down. Okay. So now let's listen to what David Sachs said. So this gentleman, Pleditor, posted this. He said, David Sachs said the quiet part out loud. The Genius Act was written by the banking industry to keep stablecoin issuers competitive with legacy system payments. Listen to what he says, guys. I've been trying to tell you guys, it's been the game plan all along. Okay, they just put a net on the other side. Oh, Bitcoin's a fraud. Bitcoin's a fraud. Bitcoin's a fraud. And then all of a sudden in 2025, the top 4 holders outside of Bitcoin, I'm going to repeat the same things over and over again. BlackRock, Strategy B. BlackRock is the 3rd largest holder in Strategy B. Grayscale. In America? Who's Satoshi? Right? Who's Satoshi? So why would BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, be the number 2 holder in Bitcoin? You got to wake up to what's actually happening. You have to wake up to the transfer of the monetary system. Every time there's a massive transfer, we have war. There's a big, huge distractive narrative that gets everybody to look this way. And after World War II, we woke up. America was in the world's reserve currency. We had Bretton Woods. Pay attention to historical patterns. That's why I read Ray Dalios, all of his content. Watch all of his content. Okay, listen to him say the quiet part out loud. Don't get played by this, guys. Make sure you're positioned on the right side of this.
Is that the stablecoin issuers cannot pass on interest to the token holders.
Why is that?
Look, I mean, I don't know if there's a great principled reason. This was a compromise that was necessary to get the support of the banking industry, quite frankly.
They see it as competition, I'm betting.
Well, there was a lot of concern from community banks that if stablecoins were paying 5% interest, it would put them out of business. I think that concern, although understandable from them, I don't think that that's what would have happened. But these are the types of compromises, quite frankly, that you need in order to pass legislation. I hope that at some point in the future, we'll revisit that and allow stablecoin issuers to kind of just do what they want to do.
Okay.
And that'll be easier once the banks get into the act and they're participating in this industry.
Got it.
But right now, they're total outsiders, and you can understand the fear factor.
Okay. It's always been the banking system, guys. The wealthiest people in the world run the banks, guys. JP Morgan to accept Bitcoin ETFs as loan collateral in expansion of crypto asset. It's here, family. Okay, so here's why I focus on this, okay? This is my financial ecosystem. This is my personal financial ecosystem that I created, okay? So I focus on cash flow, not cash. I don't store cash, okay? In my personal bank account, I have as little cash as possible. I have enough to pay my debts and non-negotiables, a little bit in an emergency account. I actually store my emergency stuff in Bitcoin. Like, why would I store it in a inflationary US dollar? So I focus on cash flow through personal income through my businesses, okay, and my cash generating dividend ETFs. So I work to create cash flow every single week. So when cash flow comes in, I transfer outside of debts and non-negotiables once the bills are paid. Okay, I transfer that into next appreciating assets that are deflationary. For me, my top 2 holdings are XRP and Bitcoin. Why? It works for me because it's deflationary. XRP has a fixed supply. Bitcoin has a fixed supply. And when people say you can't get wealthy off Bitcoin, I completely disagree. I just borrowed against my Bitcoin at 14%, bought an insurance firm that's going to be paid off in 8 months, and I beat the hurdle rate by 36%. That's building wealth. Now you can get a Bitcoin loan for 9%. So why wouldn't you store in something that grows 50% every year? You can't build wealth off that. Money compounds every 7 years at 10% in the traditional system. Absolutely, you can build wealth Bitcoin if you know how to do it. If you know how to buy cash generating businesses, if you know how to allocate money properly, if you know how to, which is moving into protection. So let's go back, cash flow. Okay. Cash is trash. I create cash flow. I focus on deflationary assets that have fixed supplies that are going to continue to go up. Okay. For example, my XRP at one point, it got up 600% since 2020. Bitcoin, it got up 195%. So as everybody lost 19% in buying power with inflation, we gained 600% on our XRP at one point. I think it's at 459 right now, 459%. And Bitcoin went down to 162%, I think it is. So would you rather have 162% gain overall and a 429% or whatever the exact numbers I don't have in front of me right now? Do you see what I'm saying? And I have liquidity to that. Okay, now it's a very volatile asset, but over the long run, it's going straight up. Then I have about 30% of my wealth protected. Okay, protection, life insurance. So I have some of my wealth is protected, and then that creates number 4, which is leverage. Okay, wealthy people use debt to become wealthier, and the working class and the working poor use debt to become poor or to make the wealthy wealthier. Okay, leverage responsibly can make you very, very wealthy. I just gave you an example of using Bitcoin to buy an insurance firm. Okay, very important. So I have two leverage components. I have my Bitcoin leverage. I'm never selling my Bitcoin. I will only borrow against it. Okay. And you got to be very responsible. You got to know what you're doing. You should never, people say borrow to pay your bills. Borrow to buy cash generating assets that pay off the leverage as quick as possible. Okay. You always got to beat the hurdle rate. So if you're borrowing at 14%, you got to make sure the cash flow is going to pay off the loan and make sure that your interest rate, your assets growing higher than your interest rate. For example, you have the insurance component. If you're borrowing at 5% from your insurance company and you're buying a cash generating dividend that's paying you 10%, or even the ones I get are way higher than that. But if you got something that's paying you a baseline 10%, you're making 5% on your money right there annually. Okay. And if the market is making 10%, you're making 5% still on your cash value. So you're making 5% on this side and you're making 5% on this side, but get the loan paid off. Okay. Does that make sense? So I create cash flow. I invest in deflationary assets that appreciate. Okay. When they appreciate outside of Bitcoin, I take some off the table and I put more into protection insurance. Okay. Then I also use leverage to buy more cash generating assets. And eventually you're in a financial ecosystem. You're in a bubble. You're leveraging, buying cash generating assets, cash flow, taking the cash flow, appreciation, appreciates, boom, protect, leverage, cash flow, protect, leverage, cash flow. And then you're in a system that is perpetually going from generation to generation. Okay. So how do I exit? So this is our what do you call it? A dummy account or demo account? Dummy account. This would be demo account. This is a demo account from Merlin. So this is my company. So I'm the co-founder and creator of Merlin. This is the smartest way to track your crypto. As you see, you can put all your assets in one place. So down below, you can get 30 days for free in Merlin. I highly recommend you get this set up. It's just an interface. We don't hold your keys. We don't hold your crypto, but it brings all your exchanges into one place. And then you can set up your actual exit plans. So you're super organized. You don't have to go to all your different exchanges. This can't be hacked, right? It's just, it's, military grade security, but it's also just an interface. So somebody hacked in here, they're just going to see what you have. They can't access your crypto. Okay. So if you look here, you can set up an exit plan. Okay, this one has a 50-50 exit plan. And so this is an example of Bitcoin, the dummy account. I'm not exiting any of it. But once you hit your exit target, we send you an alert, right? And then you can also put in so you enter whatever your tax liabilities are. It tells you how much you pay in taxes. It tells you exactly how much to exit in the market. So you're like, well, how do I set up an exit plan? We got you, man. You go here to get started. How-to videos, and we have everything to break down how to set up a proper exit plan. So Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. I'm the co-founder and creator of Merlin. You can get 30 days for free down below or in the description of my what is it called? Social media here. So that's it, guys. I mean, we're here. It's I can feel the anxiety from people. I can feel the stress, and I totally understand. I want to make sure I say this from my family's heart to yours. All this stuff that's happening, like when I said those quotes, buy when there's blood in the streets, buy when it's fearful. It's sad. It's like, it makes me sad. It breaks my heart that that's how this works. And Jesus told us, man, who do we pay our taxes to? Caesar. He said, give to God what is his, gives to me what is mine. The system has always been the same. It's nothing new under the sun. It's how is your soul reacting this time? Okay. How deep are you going to go into understanding of what's happening? And again, all I can control is the saying I love is I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. All I can do is become a warrior in my garden. Okay. If the war comes into my house, of course we're going to go to battle. But right now I'm focused on self-development, biohacking, God, practicing, praying, investing. When the markets go down, I'm in. I have conviction in what I'm investing. I'm convicted that XRP will be here. I'm convicted that Bitcoin will be here. I'm convicted that my other assets will be here. But I stick to the plan. I don't sway. I don't get fudded in. I don't get fudded out. I don't play games with my money in the meme coin markets or get rich quick. That is not. If anything is quick or hasty, run as fast as you can. That's a huge rule of thumb. Okay. I posted this on Twitter this morning. Very, very important. Like this is wise counsel. I want you guys to read this really quickly. I want to say this to you guys. I want to state it as I put it on here. I put, if it's too easy, question it. If it comes without effort, walk away. A real man walks straight into resistance because resistance reveals truth. Resistance reveals truth. This plan was built through resistance, through resilience, through discipline, through consistency, and I stick to it and I stand on it. The captain goes down with the ship. I'll never forget the story. I want to tell you a story when I was in the Coast Guard that I saw that was really, really interesting, that changed my life. So I was in the U.S. Coast Guard, and I was in San Diego, then I was in Washington, or Oceanside, then Washington, and we actually witnessed a captain go down with the ship, and I've never forgot that the rest of my life. And the lesson that I learned, what the captain told me of our boat, our captain of our station, was like, that is commitment. He believed in what he was doing. He believed, and literally he locked the door and went down into the engine and went down with the ship. He made sure his team was safe, or his crew was safe. The boat sank, and he actually went down with the ship. And I'll never forget that the rest of my life. And so that's why I'm very, very serious about what we do, what we talk about. And it's very important to stand on what you believe. It's very important to understand that everything we talk about is what we do. And I embody that inside of our companies. I always tell my team, don't ever talk about something you're not doing yourself. That is super important, because if the ship goes down, you better be on that ship. And if you're advertising something or talking about something that you're not part of, you're going to get caught up, because money made hastily always goes away. So I think that's really important lesson. But wealth is built through patience, through persistence, through discipline, through consistency, and getting your shit together. That's why I say it every single day. So I know right now the energy feels really off, and it is. It is. It's designed to lower our frequency. It's designed to make us feel fearful and scared. But I promise you, in about 6 months from now, I would say probably even sooner than that, we're going to head into a new era. And if you're on the right side of it, it's going to feel fantastic. And if you're on the wrong side of it, it's going to feel like dragging your ass on sandpaper. And how do you get there? By tapping in, tuning in spiritually, mentally, physically, getting your shit together, health-wise, everything. Build a relationship with God. Jesus Christ to me is king. Jesus Christ is king. It's changed my life. I'm no biblical scholar, but I know that Jesus Christ and following his ways and tapping and tuning into his teachings has changed my life. That's all I can say. I can only speak from my personal experience. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. Everything in the description down in this video or my social media platform. We love you guys. Warriors, let's get your shit together. God bless you.